If you are teaching a teenager to write well, you need to teach them this. This is such a useful principle that will help them in all of their academic writing and probably also in their life. Let me explain. And I am the Nerdy Homeschooler here on YouTube. I love to make nerdy homeschool content. I'm a second-generation homeschooling mom myself with 3 young children. And in the past, I have made several very practical videos on teaching writing skills in middle and high school. I've walked you through my process on teaching writing skills, as well as my process on giving critical feedback to students to help them improve their papers. I'm going to link to those videos down below. But in this video, I wanted to address just one thing that really trips up a lot of young writers when they're beginning to write formal essays and essays of argumentation. I wanted to address that because it's such a great writing principle and it's one that has a lot of real-life applications as well. Here it is. Anecdotes are not arguments. When I have taught academic writing to teenagers, this has been one of their biggest temptations. They want a solid, compelling argument for their paper, and so they frame an anecdote as an argument. Then they don't appreciate it all that much when I point this out in my critiques of their papers. And I tell them that you're going to need a new argument. You're going to need a valid argument because this one doesn't count. Because they really, really wanted to use anecdotes as arguments. And some of them also wanted to use hypothetical anecdotes as arguments, which, if anything, is even worse. And I get it. I mean, sort of, because many adults are still using anecdotes as arguments. We see this done all over social media. We see this done in all kinds of advertising as well. So what does using an anecdote as an argument look like? Well, it could look like this. I could be talking about a particular math curriculum, and I could be pointing out some flaws and some weaknesses within that math curriculum that I believe parents need to be aware of. A commenter could then respond, well, my daughter used this math curriculum and she got a perfect SAT math score and went on to be an engineer. So actually, you're wrong and it must be a great math curriculum. This is using an anecdote about your daughter's very impressive achievements to attempt to create an argument about the quality of the math curriculum. And that simply doesn't work. Lots of very bright people accomplish amazing things in spite of the limitations of the educational resources available to them. We can see countless examples throughout history of brilliant young people just changing the world, accomplishing great things in spite of using very flawed, very deeply flawed resources and having not much available to them. Does that therefore mean that flawed educational resources necessarily result in brilliant young people who change the world and accomplish great things? No, it doesn't. A resource may have glaring flaws, and a student who uses it may be highly successful. Both can be true. It is a logical fallacy to try to make a broad, general claim or an argument based on an individual incident, an anecdote. An individual anecdote might make an interesting story, and it might be one data point, but one data point does not make a solid foundation for an argument. Now, you are going to hear anecdotes used as arguments all the time, like the classic response to the assertion that smoking and drinking are bad for your health. Well, my grandpa smoked and he drank whiskey every day of his life and he lived to be 93 years old. Yes, both things can be true. Nicotine and alcohol can be toxic substances that cause demonstrable harm, and your grandfather could have lived a rich, full life to the age of 93 while using both of these toxic substances. However, it does not therefore follow that because your grandfather lived a full and long life using alcohol and tobacco products, that therefore alcohol and tobacco products are not damaging to people's health. In good writing, argumentation needs to be based on logical reasoning and demonstrable evidence. Evidence should include things like statistically significant data. Teach your students in formal writing to never base their argument on anecdotes, whether real or hypothetical, and they will be forced to seek out a stronger argument on which to lay the foundation for their paper. After all, what is the purpose of learning to write well? It is because skillful writing requires us to learn skillful thinking. When we think skillfully, we will not be taken in by faulty arguments created by folks trying to sell us something. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this concept is helpful for you. Feel free to watch this video with your young writer as well. I would love to hear your thoughts on creating strong writers who can use strong argumentation in their essays. I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!